Receive divine answers and supernatural healing. 40 days of Ho'oponopono guided meditation in the heart of a quaint English village, where the air was thick with both history and hope. Sarah stood beneath the ancient oak tree outside the sprawling stone church, desperate to reclaim her son, Jacob. The parishioners whispered prayers as she gathered them, each murmured word weaving threads of faith into the very fabric of their community. It was a moment charged with the kind of spiritual electricity that felt almost palpable, as if the heavens were listening. All around, hearts beat as one, praying for the miraculous healing of Jacob, who lay pale and lifeless in their home. With each gathering beneath that old oak, Sarah felt the tangible weight of divine presence with every prayer, each breath filled with anticipation. The villagers unburdened their pain and fears, adding their voices to her own, a chorus resonating with fervent belief. Something supernatural was happening. The winds carried their hopes high into the sky, and the leaves rustled as though they were echoing back encouragement. St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes, was working, she believed, and with each circle of prayer, a flicker of light seemed to break through the shadows that encased her heart. As the days unfolded into weeks, Sarah discovered a shimmering path through her despair as she embarked on the 40 days of Ho'oponopono guided meditation. The soothing cadence of ancient Hawaiian chants resonated in her soul, stirring emotions long buried. In those moments of quiet reflection, she confronted the heaviness of resentment from her past, unearthing wounds she had nursed too long. Each session was a gentle nudge from above, guiding her to forgive not just those who wronged her, but also herself. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. One chilly twilight, after the last hope of modern medicine had vanished, Sarah fell to her knees by Jacob's bedside, the air thick with tears and urgency. Her voice was tinged with desperation, yet it surged with the strength of unyielding faith. As she closed her eyes, the room brightened, gold light filtering through, cutting through the darkness enveloping her soul. It was then she felt waves of warmth wrap around her, filling her with inexplicable peace. And suddenly, Jacob stirred. The room drew a collective breath, as if the village itself held its heart in anticipation. With a trembling gasp, he inhaled a breath filled with the promise of life. The flicker of movement rekindled the embers of hope in Sarah's heart, and whispers threaded through the village like wildfire. Miracles were real, and prayer had the power to heal. Yet beneath this flicker lay the nagging tension of unanswered questions. Had her faith truly summoned this miracle? Or had it simply been the march of time? Light swirled around her, wrapping her in divine mystery, and as dawn approached, Sarah pondered the ultimate truth: could the spiritual fracturing of her family have birthed another kind of miracle? The answers hung tantalizingly close, hinting at transformations yet to come, weaving an intricate tapestry of faith, healing, and redemption that beckoned her forward into the unknown. As dawn broke, the pale light crept through the curtains, spilling onto Jacob's face. Heavy breaths were slowly replaced by gentle, rhythmic inhalations. Sarah sat beside him, her heart a kaleidoscope of emotions. Confusion intertwined with gratitude, and she felt a surge of power that could only come from a divine origin. She reached out to caress Jacob's hand, still warm and life-affirming. Visions of the village pulsed in her mind. Faces she had grown to love, souls united in fervent prayer. She recalled their midnight vigils, their candlelit circles, their collective belief that something extraordinary awaited them just beyond their grasp. Each session of the Ho'oponopono meditation had peeled away the layers of despair, ushering in not just a path to Jacob's recovery, but to a deep-seated healing within herself. "Thank you, Lord," she whispered, her voice laden with reverence. The very act of speaking felt sacred, as if each word summoned the light that flooded the room. She realized then that faith wasn't a straight line, it was a winding path filled with twists and turns that brought challenges. She had been lost in her hurt, but the villagers had offered her the compass of their faith. As the morning sun bathed the room in warmth, Jacob's eyes fluttered open. Blinking at the unfamiliar beams of light, his gaze found his mother. "Mum?" he croaked, the sound a melody richer than any hymn. It felt as though the heavens rejoiced with them, ushering in laughter and tears, a heartwarming symphony of hope. In a small moment, tranquility flooded the space. Sarah's heart swelled with love, but questions still lingered. Jacob's awakening felt like the dawn of something new. What did it mean? The whisperings of doubt crept in again. She thought of the forgiveness she had embraced through her meditations. Had it planted the seeds for this miracle? "Where were you?" Jacob murmured, his voice hoarse but growing stronger. "I was right here," Sarah said, "and always praying, my sweet boy." In the following days, life returned to a semblance of normality. Yet nothing felt normal anymore, for beneath the surface lay an ever-present undercurrent of divine mysteries. With each day that passed, Sarah's heart brimmed with a new kind of understanding. This awakening wasn't solely for Jacob. It carried the promise of mending relationships long frayed by disappointment and misunderstandings. There were workdays at the church, Fridays spent laughing and crying with the villagers, and evenings filled with shared meals where stories of hope and hardship mingled like a soothing balm. Sarah knew she needed to carry this miracle's essence beyond Jacob's recovery. She needed to spread the light that had enveloped her. But in the depths of her soul, another question brewed, one no amount of prayer had addressed. How could she encourage others to find their own miraculous moments? How could she share the spiritual journey that had brought her this far without seeming presumptuous or preaching? With this contemplation swirling in her thoughts, Sarah returned to the oak tree, where her journey had begun. She sought guidance amidst the whispering leaves. As she closed her eyes, she felt the warmth of the sun on her face and the fragrance of the earth surrounding her. Could this be the moment to unveil her spiritual transformation? The wind shifted, rustling the leaves above, and a sense of calm washed over her. Then it dawned on her, this was not just about her or Jacob. It was bigger, a gathering of hearts, minds, and spirits intertwined, and just as that thought took root, she felt a gentle nudge from within. Maybe the oak itself was calling her to share this newfound light. What would be the next step on her sacred journey? As the sun dipped below the horizon, the answers remained tantalizingly out of reach, but she was ready to seek them. What new path would Sarah discover in her commitment to spread love and healing? What surprises did the universe hold for her and Jacob? The next morning, the village awoke, wrapped in the gentle embrace of a golden dawn. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of dew-kissed grass and blooming wildflowers. Sarah walked towards the church, a sense of anticipation bubbling within her. Each step resonated with purpose, as if the universe itself was urging her forward. As she entered the familiar space, she was greeted with the sight of villagers gathering, eager faces illuminated by a shared warmth. Together, they formed a circle, their hands linking, a tapestry of love and hope interwoven in the chilly air. Sarah felt her heartbeat sync with their united rhythm, and she smiled, feeling a divine presence wash over her. "Today, we celebrate," she began, her voice steady yet tender. "Not just what Jacob has overcome, but the strength that resides in all of us." She felt an electrifying energy coursing through her. The faces of the villagers reflected reverence and joy, and Sarah sensed they were ready for something different, something that would deepen their connection to one another and to the divine. As they settled into their meditation, Sarah could feel her heart expand, filling with the whispers of love that flowed between them. "Remember, each breath we take." She smiled softly as they inhaled deeply together, exhaling doubts and fears. "Let it bring us closer to the light." The minutes melted into a sacred space, far from the constraints of time. Sarah felt the holy bond strengthen amongst them, each spirit igniting like individual flames merging into a brilliant fire. This was more than a gathering, it was a conduit for miraculous energy. In that moment, she realized that this was the calling she had waited for, the call to guide them through the healing powers of Ho'oponopono. The principles of forgiveness, love, and gratitude were not just her personal revelations, they were the universal truths that could nurture every heart present. With newfound determination, she spoke softly, her words flowing like a gentle river. "As we open our hearts to forgiveness, we free ourselves from burdens that hold us back. Let us release our pasts and kindle the flames of new beginnings." The air became thick with intention, and Sarah led them through the sacred phrases, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you." With each repetition, it felt as if they were unearthing layers of pain and sowing seeds of joy. Tears mingled with laughter, and hearts that once felt heavy began to soar. After the meditation, a hush fell over the room, leaving space for reflection. Sarah opened her arms. "Let us share our stories, our testimonies of healing." One after another, voices rose, weaving tales of struggles and illumination, of mended relationships and newfound appreciation. Each story brought another layer of grace, another promise of unity, yet Sarah knew this was just the beginning. She felt a whisper tugging at her spirit. This collective experience had the potential to ripple far beyond today. Could they extend their healing beyond the village? Feeling the weight of uncertainty settling within her, she pondered how to encourage this movement of love and healing into the wider world. What if we create a gathering every week? A space for healing and sharing? Excited murmurs floated through the group, but a flicker of doubt flickered inside Sarah. She looked at Jacob, whose bright eyes sparkled with pride and support. Perhaps together, they could ensure the miracle of renewed spirits would spread like wildfire. As Sarah embraced this vision, she caught the gaze of a stranger at the back of the room. The man appeared anxious, as though he carried burdens she couldn't see. Would he find the healing power that had transformed her and Jacob? As the meeting wrapped up and villagers started to disperse, Sarah felt her spirit soar, yet a question lingered. Why had this man come? What healing awaited him? The day held so much promise, yet as she stepped into the world outside, she couldn't shake the feeling that divine answers still loomed just beyond her reach. What would it take for Sarah to guide everyone, including the stranger, toward their own miraculous moment? Would the universe reveal the way? The sun climbed higher in the sky, bathing the village in a warm, loving light. Sarah stood at the edge of the churchyard, her heart stirring with purpose. Today held the promise of something extraordinary. As she watched the villagers begin to gather again, her thoughts returned to the stranger with the anxious face. He had lingered at the back, barely speaking, yet something in his eyes told her he was searching for solace. With determination, she approached him. "Hi there, I'm Sarah. You seemed deep in thought during our gathering. Is there something weighing on your heart?" The man looked up, startled, but slowly his expression softened. "I'm Oliver," he replied, his voice trembling. "I've faced so many losses lately, I just don't know how to heal." Sarah's heart ached for him. "You're not alone in this. There's a path to healing, as we explored today. Let us walk it together." She reached out, inviting him to join her and the others. As the villagers assembled again, the energy buzzed with anticipation. They formed a circle once more. Sarah couldn't shake the weight that hung in the air, but she also felt the presence of the divine guiding her. In each connection, love was palpable. "Let us take a moment to breathe together," she suggested. The group obeyed, inhaling the life-giving air and exhaling together in a rhythmic sigh. She watched as people relaxed, some closing their eyes, others pursing their lips in prayer. Oliver, too, closed his eyes, surrendering to the moment. "Let us welcome the light of forgiveness into our midst," she began, her voice soothing. "In this sacred space, we share not only our joys but our sorrows. Together, we rise above our pain." As they entered the meditation, Sarah felt Oliver's spirit start to open up. She guided them through the Ho'oponopono phrases again, the words acting like keys unlocking their hearts. She could sense the burdens lifting, not just from Oliver but from others too. Memories long buried began to surface, and voices began to speak what they had harbored in silence. "Anxiety about my past, I'm sorry. Please forgive me," Oliver whispered along with the others. The softness in his tone echoed a plea for healing. One by one, as they shared their burdens, the circle transformed into a confessional of grace, where love overshadowed shame. Sarah felt a powerful release in the air, the barriers of doubt shattering like glass as tears of grief shifted to waves of joy. When the meditation concluded, the sunlight seemed brighter, reflecting hopes reignited in their hearts. Sarah opened the floor, inviting those who felt moved to share again, this time to express their hopes and dreams for healing. I want to let go of my fears, Oliver finally spoke up. I've lost faith, but I want to believe again. The raw honesty struck a chord among the villagers, and a collective murmur of compassion rolled through the circle. Sarah's spirits lifted, feeling the weight of Oliver's vulnerability begin to transform. You are surrounded by love. We stand in solidarity with you, Oliver. Each expression of faith, every act of vulnerability, was shaping a tapestry of shared healing. Sarah's heart soared. Yet beneath the joy, a question lingered. How could they reach others outside their circle, drawing in those who needed healing but were overwhelmed with doubt? Let us take our prayers beyond these walls, she said, her voice turning resolute. Let us spread this healing into our community and beyond. As the villagers pondered this, Sarah felt the familiar tingle of energy, a sign that more was in store. What awaited them in this leap of faith? Would they step into the unknown, turning their love into a movement that touched every broken heart they encountered? In the silence that followed, excitement trembled in the air like a hymn waiting to be sung, each heart preparing for the next step of their journey. What could they uncover in the vast tapestry of love awaiting them? The villagers' expressions shifted, a blend of awe and determination shining in their eyes. Sarah felt a divine spark dance among them, igniting a sense of hope and purpose deeper than anything she had ever witnessed before. Let us begin our mission, she declared, her heart pounding with excitement. Where do we go from here? How do we share this light? Oliver stood again, his voice stronger now. Maybe we could visit the homes in the village. We can invite them to join us, to connect and share their burdens. The idea resonated. A healing walk. Someone exclaimed. Let us bring the message directly to our neighbors. Imagine how many hearts we might touch. Sarah nodded, the vision expanding in her mind. Yes. Let us prepare ourselves in prayer before we go. We need courage and love to share this gift. As they held hands, the circle became electric. Their breaths synced, creating a steady rhythm resonating with unity. Sarah led them in a collective prayer, invoking the divine presence to guide their intention throughout the village. Each word seemed to wrap around them like a warm blanket, binding their hearts in love and purpose. May we spread love like seeds in every home, breaking through walls and soothing every anguish, she prayed, her voice rising with fervor. May we be vessels of healing. Tears streamed down Oliver's cheeks as he joined in, feeling the solid ground beneath him shift towards a brighter road. Help us to be brave, even when it's hard. Grant us the strength to walk toward the broken. Sarah felt a swell of energy surge through the group, like a wave of warmth that could melt even the heaviest burden. They stepped back from the circle, hearts beating in synchrony, as they prepared for their first visit. Together, they walked toward the first house, a modest dwelling adorned with flowers struggling in the sunlight. As they knocked, anticipation fluttered in Sarah's chest. A kind-faced woman answered. Hello, we're reaching out to our community. We want to share some light and love, Sarah began, her voice steady but tender. She felt a pulse of energy radiate from the villagers behind her, a supportive force urging her on. The woman's brow furrowed, but Sarah noticed a flicker of hope in her eyes. I'm not sure, she hesitated. Come and join us, Oliver spoke up. We share stories, heal, and forgive together. It has made such a difference for us. We would love for you to be a part of it. The woman studied them for a moment, then nodded, an unexpected glimmer of acceptance breaking through her apprehension. All right, I'll come. As they made their way through the village, they encountered more faces. Some welcomed them with open arms, while others hesitated, wrapped in layers of doubt. Each conversation seemed like dropping a pebble into a still pond, the ripples of love expanded even further than they could see. The cries of despair began to dissolve into laughter, the shadows of anxiety lifted by soft rays of faith. At one home, a man wept as he expressed his feelings of shame and brokenness. He had thought he was too lost to find his way back. But among those gathered, his burdens lifted with every hug, every word of understanding. May love cover you, Sarah whispered, as they all joined in prayer. She felt the circles of their hands tighten, the warmth shared growing as they surrendered to the moment. And as they continued to walk and share, Sarah felt a revelation wash over her, a reminder that healing does not stop at personal connection. Rather, healing is an act that ripples out, crossing the boundaries of hearts, homes, and even souls. As dusk began to settle over the village, they reached the last home on their list. The whispered hope of transformation filled the air, urging them forward. What awaited them behind that door would reveal more than they could ever imagine. Would they unlock a deeper gift of healing, for themselves and their community? The air crackled with divine excitement as they prepared to knock once more, hearts open and ready for the unforeseen journey ahead. Sarah raised her hand to knock, her heart racing with anticipation. The sun dipped low, casting golden hues over the village. This house felt different, heavy with an expectancy that settled deep within her spirit. As the door creaked open, they were met by a frail-looking elderly man. His hair was pure white, and his eyes, though clouded by age, sparkled with a depth of wisdom. "Welcome," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, yet it resonated with gentleness. "Sir," Sarah began, her voice quivering slightly. "We are here to bring light and love to our community. We would be honored if you would join us." The man studied them for a moment, a wave of emotions flickering across his weathered face. He seemed to search their eyes for sincerity, for a glimpse of the hope they spoke of. When his gaze settled on Sarah, he sighed, and she felt the weight of centuries pressing down on him. "I've lived alone for so long," he murmured. "I don't know if I can still share anything of value. My heart feels too heavy sometimes." "The heaviest hearts need only a gentle touch," Oliver interjected softly, stepping closer. "You may hold wisdom that could heal not just your own burdens but those of others as well." Sarah watched as the man's expression shifted. A faint gleam of remembrance lit up his eyes. He seemed to remember what it felt like to be connected, to have a purpose beyond himself. "What if I have nothing left to give?" he replied, the doubt clinging to his words. "Love doesn't require perfection," Sarah offered, her voice steady with conviction. "It flows freely, seeking only a willing heart. You don't need to do anything but be yourself. Just come and share." A long pause enveloped them as the old man wrestled with the ache of loneliness and the beckoning of companionship. The light from the setting sun warmed his face. Finally, he took a deep breath, motioning for them to enter. As they stepped into the home, Sarah felt an overwhelming wave of compassion wash over her. The small room, filled with dust and fading photographs, echoed with untold stories. They gathered in a circle, hands clasped, their energies melding together. "Let us pray," Sarah said. She closed her eyes and began to speak words of comfort and strength, inviting the presence of the divine to fill the space. "May we remember that we are never truly alone, that our hearts can connect and heal through love. Fill this home, Lord, with your warmth. Help us to listen, to share, and to find courage together." As she prayed, tears streamed down the old man's cheeks, and the atmosphere shifted. It felt as if the very walls were absorbing the essence of their unity and faith. "It's been so long since anyone cared." His voice broke, and he began to recount tales of joy and sorrow, of loves lost and found, of laughter that once filled the air like music. Each word was a thread woven into an unseen fabric of connection. With every story shared, Sarah felt deep healing flowing not just through the elderly man but among them all. Each offering of vulnerability cracked open the doors to understanding and compassion, casting aside loneliness. After what felt like hours, they embraced in gratitude, a circle of warmth enveloping them. Sarah smiled as she looked around at the faces of her companions, once transformed by the simple act of listening and loving. But in that moment, a whisper echoed in Sarah's heart. What if the true journey was just beginning? The revelation struck her as a divine mystery. Perhaps their mission was not just about healing the village but uncovering layers of light hidden within their own souls. As they left the elderly man's home, a sense of wonder filled the air. What other journeys lay ahead? What other hearts waited to share their stories, their pains, and their healing? They stepped back into the twilight, eager yet contemplative, ready to uncover the deeper gifts that awaited them. Would they discover more than just healing? Would they learn the power of unity that transcends heartache into divine purpose? As they walked away from the elderly man's home, a cool breeze swept through the village, stirring the fallen leaves that carpeted the narrow pathway. The sun had vanished, leaving a tapestry of stars sprinkled across the vast night sky, each one gleaming like a promise. Sarah's heart swelled with new purpose. The tender stories shared had ignited something within her, a spark of desire to reach deeper into the lives of others. What if the power of connection was infinite? She pondered aloud, glancing at Oliver and the rest of the group. "We've only scratched the surface," Oliver replied, his eyes shining with anticipation. "Every soul we touch brings us a little closer to understanding the depth of divine love. There is so much more to discover." Hilda, who had been silent for most of their visit, now spoke up. "I remember a place in the woods where the old oak tree stands. It's said that if you sit beneath it with a heavy heart, you can feel its wisdom. Maybe we could gather there and see what unfolds." The idea hung in the air, heavy with weight yet light with possibility. Sarah felt a stirring within her spirit, a confirmation that they were being led to something sacred. They quickly made their way to the woods, following the winding path that led to the ancient tree. Upon arrival, they were greeted by the majestic oak, its branches sprawling wide, as if welcoming them into its embrace. The moonlight filtered through the leaves, casting dancing shadows around them. Sarah felt an inexplicable peace enveloping her. "Let us sit," she suggested, feeling the cool earth beneath her. They formed a circle, much like before, and closed their eyes, allowing the calm of the night to wash over them. "Lord," Sarah began, her voice barely a whisper, "we come seeking your divine wisdom tonight. Show us the beauty in sharing our burdens. Teach us how to mend the broken pieces of our community." As she prayed, the gentle rustling of the leaves began to harmonize with her words. The night air felt charged with a quiet expectancy. Opening her eyes, she looked around, observing the way the moonlight adorned her companions' faces, illuminating their hearts and hopes. The old oak seemed to pulse with life, a comforting presence, a reminder of resilience and growth. Sarah felt the foundations of their faith intertwining, deepening like the roots of the tree beneath them. In that stillness, she caught sight of Oliver, who had a look of revelation on his face. "Do you feel it? We're not just here for support, we're here to be vessels of healing," he exclaimed, eyes shining. "Imagine what happens when we share this experience with others. When we testify to our own healings, we open pathways for others to heal too." A sense of excitement rippled through the group. They exchanged glances filled with wonder and energy. Each of them carried unspoken burdens, but in this moment beneath the oak, something shifted. It was as if the weight was being lifted, replaced by the promise of shared purpose. Hilda's voice broke the silence again. "What if we gathered the entire village? What if we created an evening of sharing and loving, where each person could speak their truth, just as we did with the old man?" The idea rang beautifully in the night. They envisioned lanterns flickering, songs sung, and stories shared. A collective healing that could ripple healing across the community. With this new vision blossoming in their hearts, Sarah paused, feeling the gravity of their intertwined fates. But what if fear holds them back? What if they don't see this as a chance to share? Suddenly, beneath the endless expanse of stars, the weight of their shared journey seemed magnified. It was as though each star represented a heart waiting to be united in love. They were faced with a new question: how could they bind together those who felt alone in their suffering? As they wrapped their arms around one another, a surge of hope surged through their circle. They knew this was only the beginning of a much larger mission, one that awaited further discovery and deeper understanding. With hearts glowing, they stood together, ready to embark on this journey to transform their community. But even as they embraced the night, a whisper lingered: what would it take to spark the hearts of the villagers? The unknown lay in wait as they prepared for what was to come next. The night wrapped around them, a cocoon of breathtaking beauty. Stars winked down from the heavens, and the gentle breeze carried the fragrance of the forest, filling their lungs with a sweetness that felt sacred. "Let us speak our dreams tonight," Sarah proposed, her eyes sparkling with inspiration. Why not put voice to the hopes awakening in their hearts? She felt it was time to give form to their faith. "I dream of a village lit by kindness," Oliver shared, his voice filled with a quiet strength. where love flows like the river, nourishing every soul, even those who feel too weary to bloom. Hilda chimed in, passion igniting her words. I want to see laughter softening the edges of pain. I dream of a gathering where stories are shared not just for sympathy, but for strength, a night where every truth is honored. With each voice, the circle felt more vibrant. They were creating something together, crafting a vision strong enough to draw others into the fold. Sarah felt the warmth of their dreams cocooning around her, creating a tapestry of hope that stretched far beyond their small gathering. Yet still, there was hesitation. What if some feel unheard? Hilda's concern echoed in the stillness. What if they feel too small within the shadows of despair? That's why we must shine our lights brighter. Oliver insisted, his fervor palpable. We cannot dim our light out of fear. We align ourselves with God's love, and that love will call them closer. The old oak towered above them, bearing witness. Its sturdy trunk felt like the arms of a loving father holding them. In that moment, Sarah closed her eyes and breathed deeply, focusing on the gentle pulse of life all around her. She pictured every villager, every face that had crossed her path lighting up like stars themselves, each one a testament to God's artistry. Let us take this further, she said, her voice steady and filled with purpose. What if we brought our candles to the village square? We could light the way, illuminating shadows that cloak the hearts of those who need it most. Candles of hope. Oliver exclaimed, his eyes alight with possibilities. A night where we ignite faith in our community. Each person in the circle began to nod, their spirits lifting like the flames they envisioned. Thus, plans began to form, a night under the stars, where their hearts would bind together, lanterns flickering, a sea of warm light bringing warmth to the cold of loneliness. Sarah could already hear the laughter, feel the joy intermingling with the soft notes of music filling the air. It was vibrant, alive, but deep inside, she felt a tug of responsibility. Could they truly gather all? Would the pain of past heartaches allow them to step into the light together? Will we have enough courage? Hilda's whisper broke through, almost lost in the cascading leaves. Courage will come from our unity, Oliver reassured her, looking around at their circle. Together, we'll be invincible. As they interlaced their fingers once more, a wave of peace washed over them. They didn't have all the answers. No, doubt still lurked in the corners of their hearts, but now, there was a flicker of undeniable hope. In the depths of the night, a haunting thought lingered. What if this first gathering birthed something transformative? They were preparing to awaken a dream, but that dream held the potential for something even greater. The real question loomed now: what divine surprises awaited them in the hearts of their neighbors come that precious evening? With that fire of possibility igniting within them, they stood, filled with renewed resolve. Tomorrow would bring its challenges, but so too would it carry the promise of connections waiting to be made. The stars above twinkled in agreement, as if to say, you're on the right path. The sun broke on the horizon, painting the village in hues of gold and soft lavender. It was the day they had planned for. Sarah awoke with a sense of purpose, a gentle excitement rippling through her chest as she recalled their fervent dreams from the night before. The air buzzed with anticipation, like the hum of a choir preparing to sing. She rushed to gather supplies: candles, warm blankets, and lanterns that had been tucked away for too long. Each item felt like a piece of a larger tapestry, woven with intention and love. Walking through the village, she could feel the presence of God weaving through her. Each doorstep she passed felt sacred, a reminder of the lives gathered in one place, each filled with hopes and stories. As she waved to neighbors, some looked back with smiles that appeared hesitant yet hopeful. It dawned upon her that they, too, were yearning for light to dispel their darkness. Oliver joined her soon after, his steps brisk and determined. "How is the heart, Sarah?" he asked, genuine concern lacing his voice. "Full of hope," she replied, "but also nervous. What if our big dreams fall flat? What if no one shows?" He put a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We have to remember, we're not in this alone. With each candle we light, we are igniting faith, not just ours, but for everyone." His strong presence was grounding, fueling her spirit with warmth. As twilight approached, the village square began to stir. Hilda arrived, her arms overflowing with vibrant flowers, a symbol of joy and renewal. "These are for the heart," she smiled, arranging them delicately alongside the candles. Their colors shimmered against the darkening sky, promising a beauty that would soon illuminate the night. The moment of reckoning hovered just above them like a soft cloud, filled with unspoken prayer. One by one, villagers started to gather. Some came with uncertainty etched in their features, while others sparkled with curiosity and excitement. With each person that arrived, Sarah felt the heart of their gathering pulsate stronger. As they formed a sturdy circle in the square, Oliver began to speak. His voice rose above the whispering wind like a gentle tide. "Tonight is not just about lighting candles. It's about connecting our hearts in faith. It's about love being the brightest flame in the darkest of nights." Laughter erupted as the first candle was lit, its flickering flame dancing like a gentle spirit. With deliberate care, each villager followed suit, and soon the square glowed with warmth. Gasps of awe rippled through the gathering as the light wove its way through shadow, each flicker breaking down barriers of isolation. They were no longer just individuals, they were united. But deep within Sarah, a question dangled like the last ember of a fire: what transformation awaited among them? Would it be merely a night of hopes and dreams? Or something far deeper? As they shared stories and laughter, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the divine was preparing to move among them, unraveling chains they didn't know they wore. She looked around at the faces, the joy, the hesitation, the flicker of fear, and prayed for courage, healing, and divine grace to rain upon them. And as the night deepened, they felt the air shift, weighty with a holy presence. It was here that their spirits hungered for more than just connection. They craved divine intervention. A hush fell over the crowd as Oliver raised his voice to gather them in prayer. In that silence, anticipation settled like dew on the grass. Would a miracle unfold before their eyes? Would they witness something they had only dared to dream? As their eyes closed in reverence, deafening stillness wrapped around them like a cloak, and divine mysteries loomed on the horizon. What answers would come? What transformations could emerge as they opened their hearts to the infinite? As the echoes of silence settled over the gathering, the stars twinkled brighter, as if leaning closer to witness the unfolding miracle. Sarah felt a pulse of energy race through her, igniting her heart with hope. She opened her eyes, feeling the warmth of the flames around her, each one a beacon of faith illuminating not just the square, but the very souls of her beloved villagers. "Tonight," she began, her voice steady and full, "we are not just lighting candles, we are lighting hearts. Each flicker represents a story, a struggle, a healing." She felt the gathered souls lean in, captivated by her words. "Let us share our journeys, our joys, our pains, our hopes." The villagers nodded, their eyes shimmering with the glow of the flames. One by one, they began to rise, each soul sharing their story like pieces of a grand puzzle. Old wounds surfaced, yet they mingled with laughter and revelations, as if the scars were not so burdensome in the radiant light surrounding them. Oliver spoke with conviction, sharing his losses. "I thought I had been abandoned by hope, but look at us. We are here together, binding our hearts in love." Waves of applause rippled through the group, encouraging others to speak freely. Hilda tearfully recounted moments of loneliness that began to dissolve as she found her community again, her voice lifting higher with each phrase. By sharing, Sarah interjected, her heart swelling, "we heal not just ourselves but each other." The energy was electric, wrapping them in a cocoon of shared vulnerabilities and emerging strength. As laughter surged and tears flowed, Sarah glanced around, embracing the collective journey. Each person in attendance was woven into a tapestry brighter and warmer than any flame. Then, suddenly, the air shifted. The old oak above them shook slightly, its branches casting a shimmering dance of shadows across the villagers. A deep stillness washed over them, as if time stood still. "Let us take a moment," Sarah encouraged, sensing the palpable presence of the divine. "Close your eyes, and let us breathe together." They inhaled deeply, a synchronized rhythm rising and falling like gentle waves. With each breath, Sarah felt an overwhelming light fill the space, a divine warmth enveloping them as they connected to something greater than themselves. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you," they whispered together, the ancient words of Ho'oponopono, a release of burdens, a request for forgiveness. As their voices wove through the night, the flames flickered wildly, reacting to the collective intention humming in the air. With a hush, Sarah opened her eyes again, gazing into the faces surrounding her. "There's a shift happening," she exclaimed. "Can you feel it? We are breaking chains that bind us." The villagers nodded, tears flowing freely, healing cascading like the first rain after a drought. A soft wind began to blow, rustling the leaves of the oak, and for a moment, crowns of light encircled them as if heaven itself was participating in their sacred gathering. It felt as if the very spirit of the village had awakened, and they were no longer just a group of individuals, they were a family. As the evening unfolded, Sarah's heart danced with joy. Each story transformed them. The burdens of doubt and fear were exchanged for warmth and hope. In that moment of intimacy, the frail old man they had visited echoed in Sarah's mind. Suddenly, she understood that their mission was not just to heal the hearts of those gathered but to extend that hope to those who couldn't be there that night. What if they could create a ripple effect that spread beyond the limits of their village? As the last candle flickered out, Sarah stood before her friends, eyes alight with purpose. "Let us take the spirit of love further. We are called to be bearers of light, to spread kindness beyond these walls. Let us share the gift we've received tonight with every heart that needs it." Cheers and tears of agreement filled the air as smiles broke out among the villagers. Their commitment deepened, no longer just longing for change, but ready to step forward into the light together. In that moment, they knew they were living in divine unity, ready to heal not just their village but beyond. They embraced, hearts woven closely in love and understanding, ready to embark on the magnificent journey of transformation that awaited them. As the moon hung high above, blessing their newfound mission, Sarah whispered a prayer of gratitude for the miracles missing in the past but vibrant in the present. "We hand our hearts to you, Lord, lead us as we shine and heal brightly together." And so began the journey of their community, a journey of transformation, faith, and unconditional love. Forever rooted in the night, they lit the flames of hope, united beneath the ancient oak. Now is the time, beloved friends. Watch how miracles unfold. Subscribe immediately to don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that could touch your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, it's crucial for our mission. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending, your voices matter. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of love and healing. Together, we spread the light.